Good morning, my lovely Niners. Right, buddies, so you've just finished your first lesson on trigonometry and you've discovered some amazing stuff. You figured out that if ever you take the ratios of the side lengths of a triangle, so you take like maybe the opposite and maybe the adjacent, and then you divide them by each other, it always makes the exact same decimal number. It always makes the exact same ratio, as long as no matter how big that triangle got. You discovered that last time. Not only that, but you also discovered that that decimal number that stays the same no matter what is actually exactly linked to the angle that you labeled everything with reference to. So how exciting, my lovelies! You have got the foundation of trigonometry in your head, and now today's lesson we're actually going to use it, and you're going to really like it. It's going to be really brilliant. So the title for today, my buddies, using trigonometry. Cool? And everyone's favorite word is coming up right now. The key to all of trigonometry, my buddies, is this here. Please write down SOHCAHTOA. Okay, so S-O-H, and if you have different colors, it would be really sensible to do it in different colors like me, if you have them, but put S-O-H-C-A-H-T-O-A. SOHCAHTOA. SOHCAHTOA, SOHCAHTOA, SOHCAHTOA. So say it with me, my buddies. Are you ready? SOHCAHTOA, SOHCAHTOA, SOHCAHTOA. So what do we do when we do trigonometry? We're doing SOHCAHTOA. How exciting. Okay, anyway, here's what it means, okay? Under where you put S-O-H, it's actually the formula that you guys know for sine. So when you did your, when you actually did your triangle proofs for me yesterday, or the other day, it was this. You figured out the sine was the ratio of opposite over hypotenuse, actually. So when you go back and look, you actually determined this formula, that sine of theta is always equal to O over H. And that's why it's SAW. It stands for sine of theta is opposite over hypotenuse. So what's CA stand for then? Well, yeah, same deal. It says the ratio first, so it says cos of theta, but this time it's A over H. What's the tan one? Yeah, that's it, O over A. You got it. So sine of theta is O over H, cos of theta is A over H, and tan of theta is O over A. Now, do you have to memorize these formulas? Not really. You don't have to memorize them because if you memorize SOHCAHTOA, you're good to go. How exciting. Cool. Now, I'm going to show you how to, this is going to be your first day of actually doing trig, my buddies. They take about 2 steps each, so not too bad actually. And here we go. Before we start, it's really important that when you look at your calculator screen, so whether it's a Class Whiz or whether it's kind of the older version, both are exactly the same. If you look in the very top line, make sure that there is a letter D on it somewhere. Now, if there is a D on it somewhere, probably after a square root sign or something, but if you see the letter D somewhere on the top, you're already good to go. Now, some of you won't see a D on the top. Some of you will probably have an R in the top, and that's a problem. And some of you will probably have a G in the top, and that's a problem too. So here's what I'm going to show you how to do, guys. And even if you don't have a problem, you can do this anyway. I'm going to reset your calculators, but we don't really use the settings anyway, so it doesn't make not a really big deal. So here we go. First things first, on a Class Whiz, or actually it's on both. So here's what you're going to do to reset your calculators. Let's all do it, even if yours is fine. Ready? Step 1, push shift. Okay, step 1, push shift. Okay, after you finish pushing shift, so there's shift on this one. After you finish pushing shift, let it go and then push 9. Now you can see on the Class Whiz it says reset above, and on the regular calculator it says CLR above. CLR is clear and reset is reset. Cool. Now on both calculators, unfortunately I only have a Class Whiz ahead in front of me, but on the Class Whiz for sure it says reset, and then the 3 options are set up data, memory, or 3, initialize all. Push 3, buddies, to initialize all. And it says, are you sure? Well, yeah, we're sure. Push equals to say you're sure. And it says reset. And it says push AC key. Now, it's the same deal on this one. I still think it's 3. I can't quite remember, but I still think it's 3. It says something like, I think that this one says something like clear memory. And then it's clear what, clear what, clear what. But choose the one that says clear all, which I think is 3, and then push equals. And boom, all of our calculators are clear now, my buddies. Happy days. Cool. So let's do it. First ever question, now that your calculator is set up, is this one. It wants us to figure out what A is, and it's only got 12 as one of the sides that's given, and it's got 42 degrees. Now, we can't actually do anything with this, but it's not Pythagoras' theorem, is it? Because we don't have enough sides to use Pythagoras' theorem. So how do we do every single question? Well, here's what you do. You jot out the triangle, so now you've drawn out the triangle, so do that, go. And back, so like literally it should take this long to draw the triangle, okay? You're not doing it super accurately, not by any stretch of the imagination. Don't use a ruler, it's just a sketch. And here we go. Label the triangle. Do you remember how to label it? Well, let's see. If you drew a straight line out from the angle to hit the other side, what's that called? Yeah, the opposite. Which is the one that's the long diagonally side? What's it called again? Well, yeah, the hypotenuse, H. And the leftover side? Well, that's the adjacent, A. Cool? So we labeled the triangles just the exact same way that we did last time. Now here's the one difference. What I'm going to get you to look at now, this is the one difference, is which of the O, A, or H have something beside them? Well, only the A and only the H, because H has a 12 next to it, and A has like variable A, like lowercase a next to it. Now guess what? Here's where we saw Katoa for the first time ever. Now, look at the two letters. You have A and H. So A. So which trig ratio is it in saw, ka, toa? AH. Which one is AH? Saw, ka, toa. That's it! It's ka! Isn't it, my lovelies? It's the middle one because that's the one that has A and H in. So here's what you're going to write. You're going to jot this down. You know that the formula, this is a step that you're going to skip. Okay, you don't have to put this step, but you will have to put the one after. The formula is cos of theta is A over H, okay? That is the formula for cos. Now, you don't have to write that. What you do write is this. You write down cos, but the theta, though, we're actually going to put in the angle that it is, which is 42. So you'll write cos 42 equals, and which side is A? Well, it's lowercase a, actually. And which side is H? Well, it's a 12, so we just swap them in for what they are. Cool! Now, there's only one other little step that we need to do, and that's to get A by itself. So what are we going to do? Well, we're going to times both sides by 12, because A was divided by 12, which means we're going to get this. 12 cos 42 equals A. Oh, I should say as well, see how I put cos 42 times 12? You don't usually put the times 12 after the trig ratio, because then it's not clear if it's the cos of 42 that's times by 12, or if it's just the whole side times by 12. So you treat it a bit like an x, and you just put the number that you times by in front. So that means A is 12 cos 42. Okay, put exactly that into your calculators. So type in 12, 1, 2, type the cos button, and it comes with an open bracket, but don't let that alarm you. Push 42, then close the bracket. So it says exactly what my screen says there. Push equals, and you've got 8.92 meters. Like a boss, your first ever trig question. Cool beans, buddies? Right. We're going to do the B and C together, then you're going to practice, and then that's going to be pretty much it, because I'm going to go slow, because I definitely want you to be ace at this topic, so I'm not going to rush this topic. I want to make sure that you all feel very, 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 very comfortable with it, okay? So let's do it. Okay, buddies, so let's go on to B then. So on B, here we go. What's the first step, my lovelies? Yeah, that's right, you've got to label the triangle, so let's do it. Step 1, there's your angle there, the 61. Draw a nice straight line out of it, and you'll spot that this side is the opposite. Step 2, try to find the side that's the longest, the slanty side. Well, it's this one. It's also the one that is the opposite to the right angle, the hypotenuse, and that just leaves the bottom one as adjacent. Next step, buddies. That's it. You circle the ones that have stuff beside. So we'll circle the H because it's got 6.5 beside, and we'll also circle the O because it has a B beside, but we'll leave the A out because this side is just completely unlabeled, so we don't want that one. Cool. Next step, buddies. Well, that's it. You've got to figure out which trig ratio it is. So here's what you do. You look at the two that you've got circled, and it's O. Okay, so it's O and H. O. Okay, now go to your acronym. So, saw, ka, toa. Which one is it if you've got O? Is it so, ka, or toa? Well, it's so, isn't it, my lovelies? If you have O and H, it's the first one. The first one's the one with O and H in. And so what are you going to write? Well, you're going to write this. You're going to write, and I'm going to skip the formula out this. Oh, maybe I won't. The formula is this. The sine of theta is O over H from the acronym, okay? Sine is O over H from the acronym. But I'm not going to write that out in my actual workings out. I'm just going to do the question quickly. So here's what you're going to do, my buddies. You're going to write this. You're going to start by writing sine, and you'll replace the theta with the angle, 61, equals opposite, which is B, over hypotenuse, which is 6.5. Cool beans, cool beans, cool beans. To get B on its own then, buddies, what are you going to do? Well, yeah, times both sides by 6.5. Giving you 6.5 sine 61 equals B, which you bish bash bosh into your calculator, just as you see it, 6.5 sine 61, close bracket, equals 5.69 centimeters. Like a boss. So I hope that you're getting your head around it. I definitely want you to do the third one on your own. So push pause and do the third one all by yourself. Go. Okay, buddies, and let's see how you did. Starting off with, get your thing labeled. O, because it's opposite. This side here, because it's the long side, is H, and that's adjacent. Things that have stuff beside them are A and O. You sound it out. You go, owa. You'd go ow, but that's not sounding like Sakatoa. So you go, owa. Which one is it? Sakatoa. That's it. It's the toa. Isn't it, my lovelies? So here's what you're going to write. You're going to write down this. You're going to write 10, and you put the angle in, 70 for theta. 10 of 70 equals the opposite, which is C, over the adjacent, which is 7.1. Times both sides by 7.1 to get C on its own. And that equals 7.1 tan 70, written the same way as if it was like x times 2, you'd write 2x. If it's sine 70 times 7.1, you write 7.1 sine 70 equals C. Bish bash bosh it in the calculator, 7.1 tan 70 equals 19.5 in this case. 19.5 centimeters. Like an absolute machine. Cool. Today's lesson is all about the practice, buddies. So practice those three. So I want you to push pause. You're gonna do lots and lots of practice today. So push pause, do those three, go. Okay, and you're back. Let's see. So I hope it was okay. I'm gonna go very quickly now. So you're just checking your work. You're not learning from this. You've already practiced. So if you haven't push pause now and do it. Okay, and here we go. Get your triangle labeled. Well, that's O, that's H, that's A. Okay? The things that have stuff beside them is O and A, which is towa when you sound out the acronym, Sakatoa. It's owa that we've got here. So you write 10, 32, equals O over A, so it's D over 10.4, which means that D is 10.4 tan of 32, which means that D is equal to 10.4 tan 32 is 6.50 is what I got. 6.50 centimeters. Hopefully you got this one as well. And this one here, start by labeling the triangle. Well, that's opposite. This one's hypotenuse because it's opposite to the right angle, and that one's adjacent. So the two things that have got bits next to them are H and O, and so you sound it out, saw-ka-toa. Which one is it? Yeah, it's saw, it's sine. Sine of 37 equals E over 17. That means E times both sides by 17 is equal to 17 sine 37. And that means that E is equal to 17 sine 37 equals 10.2 centimeters. Cool beans? And the final one then, buddies. Start by labeling it. That's O. This is going to be H because it's the longest, and that's going to be adjacent. H and A have got stuff next to them. Sound out the acronym. Saw-ka-toa. Which one? A and H? It's ka, isn't it, in saw-ka-toa? So here we go, it's cos. Cos 29 equals adjacent, which is f, over hypotenuse, which is 85. Times both sides by 85. You get 85 cos 29. Which means that f equals 85 cos 29 equals 74.3 centimeters. Like a boss. If you've done that without me, or just by maybe making just a few errors, you're on top of it, my buddies. You are doing trig. How cool. Okay. Last question is just a bit of a challenge. It is a year 9 question, but it's tough, okay? So I would like to do it with you, but your homework doesn't have any ones that are as hard as this. Okay. How do you do G then, my buddies? How do we SOHCAHTOA our way through this? Well, I'm going to show you. It's a bit harder than you think, but it's not too bad. Here's what you do. Same as normal, okay? So let's do it. Label your triangle. Well, that's O for sure. That's H because it's opposite to there. And that means that that's A. So A and H have something next to them. Sound it out. SOHCAHTOA. What is it? Yeah, it's cos, because it's ka, isn't it? So you write down this. You write cos 50 equals, and it's A, which is 8, over x, because that's what h was. Okay, here's why this one is harder. It's harder because the x is on the bottom, so we can't actually make x the subject very easily because it's on the bottom of the fraction. But you guys know from the change of subject unit that we can always get rid of a fraction. We have 8 divided by x here. How do I get rid of the fraction? What will I times both sides by? Well, yeah, by x. If you times both sides by x, you'll be able to make that wonderful sound that we always get to make, canceling out the x's. And on this side, what you're going to be left with is the x will just be in front. It's x cos 50 equals 8. Oh, so now we're only one step away, my buddies. What are we going to do? We're only one step away. How do I get x on its own? Well, if you said you divide both sides by cos 50, you're absolutely right. So x is just 8 over cos 50, which is 8 divided, or 8 fraction button, cos 50, close bracket, equals 12.4 centimeters. So that is a lot harder, but that's the last skill that I'm going to get you guys to do today. So that's the end of this lesson pretty much. What I'm going to have you do is this sheet here. Okay, so this is going to be nice and attached for you. And the reason why there's these little gaps beside it is don't forget that each one takes at least 2 lines to solve, okay? Because if you have a look at it, what does it look like? Well, there's one that you lay out what the tan or the cos or the sine is equal to. There's one where the number goes in front, and there's one that's the final answer. So you need like 3 or 4 lines for each one, and that's why like 3 or 4 lines are provided. So here's what you're going to do. All 10 of those, you'll really get in the flow, and it'll seem really quick to you after that. Just remember SOHCAHTOA, 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 and then when you're all done, upload a picture for me on to show my homework, and that will be it. So that's it from me, my buddies. See you next time. Bye, buddies!